Welcome to Q&A episode 6, the series where I answer your guys' questions on the tones of guitar players I cover on the channel, my own personal gear journey, and lots of fun stuff like that. As always, if you want to just support the channel, boost the algorithm, leave a question for the next episode in the comments down below. But if you follow me on Instagram, I'll post to my story when it kind of comes close to me wanting to make another episode, and that's where I get most of the questions from. And just diving right into the first question, the first one is from Nick C. Johnson, who asks, do you think Archetype John Mayer X on a Quad Cortex could replace my rig? And the short answer to that is no. I'm fortunate enough where I can play these amps that I have here very loud quite frequently. It's just the fun of the experience I find in playing a real amplifier and messing around with lots of different gear. As well, Archetype John Mayer X is phenomenal, but it's very much the John Mayer thing where I'm honestly, with the tones I'm currently going for, the way my rig is kind of going right now, it's less and less Mayer-like. So for me, I'm kind of moving away a little bit from that sound, or just wanting the flexibility of not just having that sound. So although eventually, it'd be kind of fun to have a Quad Cortex for a nice fly rig, but I'm not someone who gigs and needs to have something like that. But it could just be fun to have as an addition, as supplementary to the rig, but never replace it. The Panda asks, how cool is your Emerald City t-shirt? And I absolutely love it. It's my current favorite guitar-related t-shirt, and normally in my videos, I can't show off any of the cool shirts that I've gotten because you just see my face in the corner. So it was kind of always the plan to wear this in the Q&A post my trip to Seattle, and Emerald City Guitars was an awesome store. The staff was great. There's so much cool stuff in there, and the vibes in that store were absolutely insane. And the gold sparkle Jaguar that they had there was just one of the coolest looking guitars I've ever seen in person. So I definitely recommend you guys go and check out Emerald City Guitars. If you're ever in Seattle, my Vibroverb actually went through there before it went to the owner that I bought it from. So that's kind of a cool little bit of connection I have to that store, is that they had it, then that guy bought it, and then I bought it off of him. So kind of cool to go there and be like, oh yeah, my amp's been through this store as well now. And I loved Seattle. It was a great time. Got to meet James May, which is just the coolest experience ever for me. That was just, insane. And yeah, go and check out Emerald City Guitars. Really awesome store, really great time. Loved Seattle quite a lot. Moving on to the next one from Al Golcher, who asks, what music have you been listening to lately? Ever since Ariel Posen released Bannatyne, that's been one I've been going to pretty consistently. It's such a good album. Go and give it a listen to if you guys haven't already. Ariel just makes some incredible music, and go and see him on tour live. Just an absolute monster of a guitar player. And then kind of my main consistent over the past well over a year, at least at this point now, Achtung Baby, U2, I'm convinced is one of the greatest albums ever written. And just a lot of U2 really lately. It's kind of, The Edge is really my biggest inspiration right now. The Usual Suspects, of course, too. Less and less JM, honestly, I'm finding. I can't tell you really the last time I just actually listened to. Yeah, I don't know the last time I actually just listened to a Mayer song just to listen to something. Actually, that's kind of interesting. But yeah, really a lot of U2. If I'm just putting around the house or whatever, there's a really phenomenal live mashup from the 360 tour that's over 3 hours long, and I just listen to that, and I constantly just have that going as well, just because it's so good. The audio quality is actually really great, and I love listening to kind of live recordings and things like that too. It's all just audience footage, but it sounds great. So yeah, a lot of that stuff, but really Bannatyne, Achtung, the two albums I'm kind of rocking with the most lately. John Schwieger 22 asks, what did JM use the Blues Breaker for on the 2025 festival run? Love the content. I appreciate that. Now, for John using the Blues Breaker, it's a very interesting thing. We saw it kind of come back with Dead & Company, and then it appears on his own main rig as well for those festival shows. I'd like to think John was using it for kind of gravity, that was kind of the bass tone for it, but where it was placed on the board, it almost appears to be like it'd be one of the last overdrives in the chain, just based on where it's actually physically placed on the board. So maybe in some sort of gain stacking, maybe John's now liking pushing into the Blues Breaker a little bit as well. But honestly, I've seen especially because it's a festival, you don't really get those great side stage shots that really help kind of actually, provide that evidence as to what is going on. So unfortunately, there's just not a lot of information out there right now. I'm sure some sort of gain stacking at least. The big question that I have is just whether or not he was using it for any of those kind of light overdrive sort of sounds. Like the tone for gravity is just something to push the amps just a little bit. Would he still be doing that in 2025? It's very hard to say, but if I can find out ever, I'll for sure make a video on it. So I'm sorry that's not the best answer to that question right now, but I'm just happy to see it in the mix, and I guarantee you at least it's used in some sort of solo tone equation. Just where it is too in the chain, very hard to tell. N1 Alberg asks, what do you think of the NordVang Custom Gravity? It's a TS10 and Klon in one pedal. Henrik from NordVang makes some incredible stuff. It's ultra high end. I had one for quite a while actually and really did love it. The tones were fantastic. So if you're looking for something to do the John Mayer lead thing, especially if you want a TS10 and Klon in one pedal, it's probably the best one on the market, I think. It's expensive, but honestly, I really do think it is worth it, and your money is going into just insane build quality. The design of it, it sounds so good. Personally, I think it is worth it. If you're looking for something like that, the NordVang would probably be at the top of my list of recommendations. So yeah, really great pedal. Really great pedal. I'm sure there'll be people in the comments who can vouch for it as well. Moving on to the next one from Felix Music, who asks, has Johnny from Coldplay run a full digital rig the past tour? My knowledge of Johnny Buckland's gear and my main interest really is Parachutes to about X and Y, those 3 albums, those 3 tours and kind of eras. That's what resonates the most with me. So that's kind of where my focus and my research really is. And I've got to get to making some Johnny Buckland videos on the channel. I promise, life has been crazy, but this summer I'll be making a few of those videos. So in terms of his current live usage, I'm certainly not an expert or anything like that in it. I know we have a really great rack shot of a lot of the gear he was using, lots of Vemoram pedals, a Union tube and transistor pedal as well, which as a Canadian, I thought that was really awesome to see. And the last kind of amps I've seen him using, which was pretty recently, were audio kitchen amplifiers. So from everything I can kind of tell, it seems to be that he's switched from DeVille's to using audio kitchen amps live. Who knows how long that'll be, but that's currently, from the best knowledge I have, what he is using. Seth Taylor asks, how often did John actually play his signature Strat from Fender live? And that is an interesting question. There are lots of different finishes, and John had quite a few master-built versions of his signature Strat as well that you would see him using live. The ones that come to the top of my mind, at least for live usage, the Cypress Mica, that was the Good Love Is On The Way guitar during the Continuum era and into Battle Studies as well. So you'd see that guitar used actually quite a lot. And then the Sunburst, even on Where the Light Is, Heart of Life, that guitar was in the mix during those tours too. And then Olympic White, only one show at the Mod Club in Toronto, which is really cool to see. That was the JM Sig Strat that I had. He used it once, which, you know, was cool. At least he used it one time, I always thought, since I had that guitar. And then the Charcoal Frost Metallic, that was the Gravity guitar for quite a while as well, and John had a few different master-built versions of that guitar, one from Chris Fleming, and then one from John Cruz as well, I believe. I'm gonna have to fact check that. Okay, good. I was right. He had one master built by John Cruz and one master built by Chris Fleming. If you want a really good performance of him with the Charcoal Frost Metallic Strat, the Webster Hall performance of Gravity is such a good one. That's a great performance of John with that guitar. And also on the John Mayer Gear Lounge podcast way back in the day, me and a bunch of my friends, we did 2 episodes dedicated to the John Mayer signature Stratocaster. Tommy Guitars led that one, and it was so fantastic. So if you want more information, kind of a real deep dive into those guitars and John's use of them live, go and watch those 2 episodes. I'll link them in the description down below. The next submission is from Gigs and Guitars 1. No question, just love the channel and content. I really appreciate that. I always appreciate messages and in the comments and things like that when you guys just show your appreciation for the videos I make. It's what keeps me making content for you guys, so it is much appreciated. Moving on to this one from Tree Hugging Money, who asks, any updates on the Frusciante signature Strat? I've only seen like 2 or 3 online of the Masterbuilt run in the wild, or I haven't looked that hard, but definitely I haven't seen as many as I kind of thought I would. And then I've heard no rumblings of like a more affordable version, but I would expect that they are going to do a more affordable Frusciante signature Stratocaster. Maybe now that Flea's kind of confirmed that they're working on a new album, it'll kind of come out or be announced when the new album and a new tour comes out. I think that just makes the most sense. Kind of, you know, a new signature guitar for John. With the release of the album, there'll be a lot more, I think, interest in it like that, and just the timing will be a little bit better. So maybe around that point, we'll hear something about a more affordable signature guitar. But in terms of the master-built ones, yeah, I'm just surprised I haven't seen more out in the wild and more people kind of showing them off. Mattia Terreri asks, the always-on boost in the John Mayer Archetype, could it be the super clean instead of the Katana? That is what I kind of theorize as well. John's had multiple super cleans in the rig for quite a while now. One has like a little bit of yellow tape on it, and I just wonder if that just means don't hit the switch, don't turn it off. And maybe he's running a super clean just as a little bit of a tone enhancer, a little bit of a sweetener, pushing things just a little bit more, much like what we see in the Archetype. That's what I kind of theorize that could be. It's honestly so hard to know for sure, but with John having multiple clean boosts on his board, and then you see in the Archetype X, it's an always on clean boost. So I think that's what makes the most sense, that it's the exotic and with that little bit of tape. That's the theory that I am going with, at least. Hopefully one day we'll know for sure. I'm Bold as Love asks, do you think the X Blender can do the a box later thing? It has an effects loop and boost, sort of. Love the username, by the way. I'm not super familiar with the exotic X Blender, and in terms of the a box later pedal, I don't really believe John is actually using it to blend in any sort of effects. I just genuinely think that he's using it in terms of the actual kind of boost functionality for it and as a tone enhancer. So I don't think the X Blender is quite there. If John was doing more actual blending in some sort of effects, then that would be a cool kind of option as well to experiment with. And John does use the X Blender. It's been very consistently in his rack unit. No idea what it's being used for at all. I have zero clue. The rack unit stuff is quite a mystery, but it's been pretty consistently around. So he's also using that pedal too, but I definitely do think for more of the obvious, the blending function of it, where the box later, it's got a really interesting circuit in terms of just what Dumble did in order to kind of create this sort of boost. It's a boost at the end of the day, but there is just something special about it. So if you're kind of looking to get something like that, I just recommend going to my friend Ryan, the Tone Geek. He makes a box later clones. I've got one, and just get one from him. You won't be disappointed. Chef Lawyer C asks, what non-Aquapus delays sound the closest to John Mayer's AP version 1? That's an interesting question. If you don't want an Aquapus, because I just would recommend the Mark III, it's a little darker sounding, a little bit closer to the original versus the Mark II. But if you don't want one, I mean, the DM2 from Boss, it's kind of like the same circuitry and sound from my understanding. I've never played a DM2, but from what I kind of know, that's kind of what the Aquapus, I believe, was kind of designed on. And then the Supro delay, actually, that's one that I know can get very close. My friend Jake Loosemore and the London Guitarist made a video, I'll link it on YouTube, where they shot out the Aquapuses with the Supro, and the Supro could certainly do that thing very well. You know, I hate giving suggestions on pedals that I don't have a lot of first-hand experience with, so if you guys have any suggestions, leave them in the comments down below. Okay, closing the Q&A out with two questions that I just thought were interesting to ask about kind of my personal gear journey. The first one is another one from Nick C. Johnson, who asks, what's one piece of gear you want but currently don't have? And then Anders MC asks, what's your dream guitar and dream amp? All right, so one piece of gear I want but currently don't have, a 12-string Rickenbacker. That's like the thing that I have the most gas for at the moment. I'm really working on getting Mysterious Ways sounding properly, and I want to make some videos actually talking about the Korg A3 and the Edge's use of it. Mysterious Ways is so frustrating because in order to get it to sound right, you just need a 12-string. You just need it. The way it triggers, the filter, and the entire kind of sound of it, you just need a 12-string. It's hard to describe. I have the Korg A3 with the card, the preset. I've tweaked it as best as I can I'm using my thin line Telecaster to kind of do that sort of sound, or at least that's the guitar I'm using. But even having all of the right gear, essentially, yeah, it just doesn't sound the same. So I really want a 12-string Rickenbacker, and I'm just doing everything in my power not to get one. But yeah, that's one piece of gear that I just really want, but currently do not have. And then dream guitar and amplifier. It's kind of an interesting one. When I read this, kind of when I was filtering through some of the questions, I had to sit back and actually think, well, what is my dream guitar and dream amplifier? Because I feel very fortunate to own some of the gear that I have. I mean, my Vibroverb, had I not owned that, I might have said a original Vibroverb would have been my dream amplifier, being such a huge fan of the John Mayer Trio. But now I've acquired one of my dream amplifiers. So I think for me right now, the amplifier that I just dream of the most is a vintage Vox AC30. The Edge is just the biggest influence to my guitar sound right now. And I just have really wanted to try and figure out, you know, going through all the forums and everything, trying to actually figure out, okay, the Vox 1, what actually is it? Is it a 64 or is it a later 60s like it kind of looks like it is? So for me, an old AC30 is the amplifier that I dream of the most. When it comes to a dream guitar, I don't have the vintage bug that I feel like a lot of people do. Like, don't get me wrong, a vintage guitar would be really, really nice. I don't have a lot of experience playing vintage, like strats at least. So for me, maybe that's part of the reason why I don't really like have that just like deep burning desire to get like a vintage Strat. An old Jag would be cool, but the one guitar that at least I kind of always am thinking of, because I don't really think I have like a dream guitar, but one guitar that I think of quite a lot, or every time I go back to it, I just think, oh, I would love to own one of those, is the Gibson Custom Shop Shinichi Ubicata 335. I mean, that guitar is just one of the best looking guitars I think ever made. I'm such a fan of the whole Day of the Dead aesthetic. And then seeing Dave Grohl use one in the Shame Shame music video was super cool. And then Chris Buck using one live for a while as well. Like, there's an amazing performance of Rise Up with it. It just made me fall in love with that guitar. And I don't own like a big hollow body Gibson guitar. So that's one that definitely for me, I really think of quite a lot. And that's what the answer is going to be for right now, at least. It was something I had to sit back and kind of think of. And I honestly struggled with more than I thought I would. Thank you guys so much for watching Q&A episode number 6. I really love doing these videos and connecting with you guys a little bit. They're fun, and it's just a nice change up for me, even for making content on the channel. If you guys do want to support the channel and the videos, leave a question in the comments down below. We're always commenting, just helps the algorithm, and it is appreciated, you know, doing the whole YouTube thing. And make sure you guys are following me on my Instagram. It's a great way to connect with you guys. I'm trying to be better about using it more, but I will be posting another question to my story when it comes time for the 7th installment of the series. Appreciate you guys for sending in the questions, and if you made it all the way to the end of the video. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care, and I'll see you on the next video.
Anyway, go ahead and click the subscribe button if you like what you see.